was a drinker, and his mother cried in bed, folding John Wayne's t-shirts when the swing set hit his head. The neighbors, they adored him for his humor and his conversation. Look underneath the house there, find the few living things rotting fast in their sleep. Oh, the dead. 27 people, even more. They were boys with their cars, summer jobs. Oh my God. Are you one of them? He dressed up like a clown for them, with his face paint white and red. And on his best behavior, in a dark room on the bed, he kissed them all. He killed 10,000 people with a sleight of his hand, running far, running fast to the dead. He took off all their clothes for them. He put a cloth on their lips, quiet hands, quiet kiss on the moon. And in my best behavior, I am really just like him. Look beneath the floorboards for the secrets I have hid.
Welcome to my channel. My name is PurplexedQT or Laura. Alright. Let me check and make sure why there it goes. I was wondering why my thing wasn't working. I don't know why it's blue. I can't control the colors. So right off the bat, hey Paisley, right off the bat, let's get right into the misunderstandings. Hey, Susie, he was not found guilty. Let me rephrase that. He was found guilty last night. In phase 2, which is Wisconsin law, he was found not guilty by reason of insanity. That overrules yesterday's ruling of guilty, because Wisconsin has a two-part trial whenever somebody tries to go for insanity. So whoever's thinking he's guilty by reason of insanity, that's not true. He's not guilty by reason of insanity. He's not responsible for his deaths. The guilty plea yesterday is wiped away. It doesn't matter what they decided yesterday. It was overturned today in part 2. He's not guilty by reason of insanity. Now, Jane, you're wrong. You're 100%. If I'm going to play it for you, and you're going to see where you're wrong, and then I'll take an apology. So this way, there's no debate. Let's hear what the judge had to say. and then I'll move on with everything else. But just so, because I don't want anyone debating or anything else. Not necessarily, Kim. I looked up Wisconsin law. Not necessarily. It is rare. Okay.
Or participate in phase 2 of the trial.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight. Even though convicted killer Jacob Cayer refused to show up this morning, the courts proceeded with his murder trial today.
Yesterday, 12 jurors found Cayer guilty of murdering Sabrina in 26 blanks.
Refused to show up or testify today.
This was earlier. All right. Let me see if it's available yet. All right, nowhere is it showing any updated, but I wrote verbatim what the judge said, and the judge said not responsible on all 6 counts, not guilty by mental defect. The judge said 84 years. No, she said not responsible. Not guilty by mental defect. The judge said 84.5 years. Prosecution recommended life. Department of Health Services, the judge went with life. He'll be sentenced to Department of Health Services. He will get institutional care for the remainder of his life. Law and Crime Network showed it. Let me see if they have it on.
For the crime.
Sentencing hearing.
Okay.
The issue with granting a judgment notwithstanding the verdict, in my mind, I would have to find that there's no way the jury could have relied on the evidence to come to the determination that they came to. And I think given the testimony that's been presented, they certainly could have relied on that to make their decision. So I'm not going to grant that motion. And instead, I'm going to grant the request of the defense. Is there any issue about your client and his request to participate?
Yes, he wants to be here for his disposition hearing.
All right. I understand what the Green Bay Press said, but there is no law that has a guilty but not responsible. That doesn't exist. The only thing that exists is not guilty by reasonable doubt. I mean, not guilty by reasonable insanity, whatever. That's what exists. Nothing else exists. There is no guilty but not responsible in all of the law. But I'm not getting hung up on that. You guys will see once you hear it again. I understand what the news are saying. They're saying that he's guilty because he's being sentenced life. Just because he's technically not guilty by reason of insanity doesn't mean he's walking off and he's ever going to get out. No, it's always not guilty by mental illness. The reason for that, Kim, if you're guilty, then you know you did it. You can only be found guilty if you actually consciously knew that you did something. That's how you become guilty or not guilty. There is no such thing as guilty, but by reasonable insanity. Because your reasonable insanity... No, but I'm saying guilty by mental illness doesn't exist. You're only insane if you didn't know what you were doing. And that you can't be held responsible for what you did. That's why you can't be guilty. It's impossible. I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but the correct way to say it is not guilty by reason of insanity. Plain and simple. So, not guilty, yes. Not guilty by mental illness or defect. 100% Kim. Yeah, you had said guilty. You didn't put a not there. It is not guilty by mental illness. Now, he was charged yesterday. Val, I just explained that 3 times. There's no such thing as guilty but not responsible. That doesn't exist. It's the actual term is not guilty by reason of insanity. Plain and simple. But I'm not getting hung up on this. They will eventually post it and then you guys will hear the actual judge. He's not getting out. The judge had sentenced him saying that they could hold him for like 85 years. Prosecution wanted life, so they gave life. Oh my God. Okay, whatever. I'm not arguing that point anymore. I'm not. But he's definitely not getting out. He's not going to see the light of day. Hopefully. Now, I say hopefully because I looked up Wisconsin law, and Wisconsin law says that it's actually up to a doctor that he can go on a certain amount of time, and it's actually up to the doctor, not the judge. Obviously, the doctor has to get approval by the judge, but remember, the judge is older, so the judge might be dead. But I'm going to get into the whole what you guys think, what your possible, he can apply every 6 months. I don't know. You might be right. I didn't see that. But doesn't his term have to mean something, though? Like, doesn't the fact that they sentenced him to life mean that he can't really get out in every 6 months? He does have a diagnosis. All right. So for those of you that may not be so familiar with the case, on June 7th of 2016, yeah, he'll never get out, hopefully. On June 7th of 2016, he broke into his ex-girlfriend's house. Her name is Sabrina Tague, and her mom's name is Sunny Tague. Broke into her house, killed his ex-girlfriend, killed her mother, like brutally killed her mother, and then tried to kill her current boyfriend and failed. So the current boyfriend actually survived. He originally pleaded not guilty, then he changed it to not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect. His case was postponed for 4 years. Like 4 different times they were going to go to trial. They couldn't go to trial because he was going to see a different doctor. They were going to see if maybe he was criminally insane. Hey, boss, they didn't know what his story was. So he drove, according to the police, it was like a real life horror movie. He said they knew exactly what happened. They know the chain of events. And not like he tried to hide. And that's why I think they wanted to be... Val, I'm not arguing. Just wait till you hear the judge again. There is no such law. There's no statute of guilty but insane. That doesn't exist. Welcome, boss. That just doesn't exist. So jealous. Rage on drugs. Fucking guy went out. Thank you for explaining. Under Wisconsin law, you can apply for release every 5 years. After 5 years, every 6 months. It will never happen. Yeah, that I know. So, what, like, they said that the mother, he basically, like, hung her. It was disgusting. I thought I came remember the other day, but I guess not. No, I wasn't on this channel, boss. I was on my other channel. So, this was postponed 4 times because this guy could not get a trial. I know, he was. It was like but here's the thing. Was it real, Kim, or was he trying to get this defense? Because remember, he was trying to get this defense. Now, under Wisconsin law, you can utilize the insanity defense at the time that you committed the crime. You can say that you did it because you didn't understand it, you didn't know what you were doing, you lacked substantial capacity to appreciate the wrongfulness of what you're doing, and because of that, you don't remember doing it, you're not responsible for doing it. But in Wisconsin, in order to use this as a defense, and let me tell you, not too many cases get passed by this. So you need to have been diagnosed with a mental disease or defect. Typically, not every time, but typically, a court-appointed mental health professional will evaluate your disease, check you out, make sure that you fit the criteria for saying that, you are insane. Determination by the mental health professional will give you an opinion as to whether or not you knew the conduct was right or wrong. And whether or not you had the ability to control your conduct that led to the criminal incident. I personally, he was dating her at one point. So he was perfectly fine when he was dating her. He was perfectly fine when in other instances of his life. So I find it really odd that there were no signs that he was going to do this. There were no signs of anything. If he's that insane, how do you not know that something's going to happen? I don't know. It's just the way I feel. So, hold on. All right. All right. All right. Hold on. I lost my spot. Hold on. Defend. That's the word I was looking for. There's no guilty but held responsible defense. It just doesn't exist. It's the NGRI, which is not guilty by reason of insanity. That's the only thing that exists. So that's why I kind of like, hey Dave, that's why I was kind of like confused when everyone was saying it. I couldn't think of the right word. Defense was the right word. That's the word I was looking for, defense. So there have been so many instances where people say like, oh, it's a get out of jail free card. And the insanity defense, well, I'm not going to go to prison now. But it takes so much for you to get past a doctor. I do, boss. It's a PURPLEXEDQT. To get past a doctor that a defendant may be found incompetent to stand trial and committed for rehab, even if they're stable enough or intellectually capable of participating in the proceedings, if that person is rehabilitated, and which is what I believe they were trying to do for the last 4 times, I really believe that they were trying to make him sane in order to stand trial. Now, he did stand trial, and he was fucking crazy. He was all over the place. Yeah, the doctor felt like he was completely all over the place. And because of that, they decided that he was insane. I'm not sure if I agree with it, though. I'm really not. Because when the judge read the verdict, he was fine. I'm sitting there like, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Like, that to me is not insane. He is nuts. He is not insane. Well, he's insane according to the jurors. Now, one thing that a lot of people do not realize, though, and this is scary, that in Wisconsin, it's just because he got sentenced to life does not mean that that's where he's going to be for life at all. I think he is a mass manipulator. I'm going to get to that in a little while. And that's what I'm saying, Mindy. We don't know what his state of mind was when he did the murders. He may be insane now. He may be a fucking schizophrenic paranoid now. He's been spent the last 4 years in prison. So he acted insane because that is what he got exactly what he wanted. Like, he wanted to get this verdict. He didn't want a guilty plea. He didn't want to be able to go to prison for the rest of his life. He got exactly what he asked for and what he wanted. So, I mean, honestly, anybody can turn on that charm. Anybody can be like, I'm insane. I'm acting insane. He even said on the stand that he didn't do it. And, I mean, he stayed there. He didn't run when it happened. He literally stayed there and was like, okay, this is it. I am staying here. I killed them. I did it. I think it was an all-in act too. But at the same time, Hummingbird, this is where I kind of tinker where I'm not sure. Hey, Andy. If you really think about it, this trial was postponed 4 times because of doctors. 4 times. So you have to think that, okay, maybe you can fool 1 doctor. Maybe you can fool 2 doctors. Maybe you can fool 3 doctors. But to put aside 4 different trials, just in order to have just to have different doctors' opinions, I don't know. But Paisley, he saw different doctors. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that he wasn't insane. But I think to say that, looking at him now, to say, hey, T-Light, to say that he was insane at the time he committed the murders is a whole different ballgame. And none of the jurors saw him when he committed the murders. If I commit a double murder and I know that I'm fucked and I'm going to jail for the rest of my life, I have a hard time believing that I wouldn't try to act insane. It's kind of like people that kill children and all of a sudden they bury them and they get kidnapped and they're not in their own state of mind. Like they literally have a psychosis. I mean, we see a lot of trials like that it's like a total psychosis. Maybe that was him. Maybe he went into a psychosis. Now remember, this guy has had 4 years to concoct this story. He's had 4 years to act insane. He's had 4 years to sit there and do absolutely nothing but think. Jail sucks. But you know what you do a lot of in prison? You think. He's had 4 years to do this, which to me really means a lot. It really says a lot, in my opinion. Hold on. All right. We also, the other thing that scares me too, though, we don't know if the laws are going to change. The laws can totally change in 20 years where he walks out a free man. Like, we just don't know. He can completely walk out a free man and we'll never know it. We'll absolutely never know. I don't think that picture is him. Somehow I think that got thrown in when I was doing my things. Now, the laws that dictate the practice of committing people by reason of insanity, because of their mental illness, they are hospitalized until they're deemed safe to release to the public. So, this is MAM territory. What do you mean? Guy said in the videos that he knew that he did something bad, and that's what this whole phase 2 thing was about. He said he knew he did something bad right afterwards. Yes, but he still was found. Well, there's the phase 2, that's Wisconsin law. That's they didn't have a choice. That's just Wisconsin law. So any time that somebody pleads guilty by insanity, not guilty by reason of insanity, Wisconsin law does a phase 2. It's just the way it is. Nobody had a choice in that. Now, I'll tell you what I found, though, which is really interesting. So he did this on June 7th of 2016. 2016. Now, this is just Wisconsin. This doesn't cover anywhere else other than Wisconsin. 2016. Now, he did it, like, right in the middle. Oh, yeah, making a murder of fucked up laws. Exactly, Sassmar. 2016 saw the highest number of total deaths and homicides since 2000. So, think about that. Why? Why were there so many more deaths in 2016 in Wisconsin? 2015 had the third highest number of homicides and total deaths in the history of the state of Wisconsin. Before discussing possible factors, looking at all the data collected, to know that for some reason, the past several years, particularly when compared to the first decade, in terms of what I'm talking about or what I'm putting out there, always ask for an attorney, absolutely. Characterizing a homicide as a domestic violence homicide requires a relationship between the people. So that's been taken into effect. The amount of accessible, relevant information has grown exponentially over the years with news content and everything. but the increase in domestic violence homicides identified in 2015 and 2016 grew by like 50%. That's huge. Huge. And this is just in Wisconsin. So they say that gun safety and economic equality is necessary, but the increased number of domestic violence homicides reported in 2015 and 16 grew. Government funding was less. Suicide was on the rise, and their domestic violence related murder suicides were also on the rise. All in 2016. That's kind of whack, though. It really is. Like, why 2016? So I don't live in Wisconsin, so I don't really know what happened in 2016. But when I hear about it, oh, it's usually Florida, Captain. Usually I hear it in Florida. I always found Florida was like way high. So back to his case. All right. I don't know what I truly feel. I really don't. Forgetting MLW is a war zone. But this didn't happen in Milwaukee. None of this was in Milwaukee. I can't believe I can't find the thing I had. I gotta shut it down. All right. So I want to know, that's like the basic case. I want to know what you guys think. I think that he's going to end up walking. Not anytime in the near future, but like in 50 years. Because if he really isn't insane, like literally, if he's not truly insane and he faked it, then what? It's really not that hard to fake it. Especially when you think about it for so long. Now, I didn't watch the entire trial because, I was doing other things, but I did watch a lot of it, and I did watch his testimony. I don't know. What do you guys think? I don't believe that he's truly insane. I think he faked some of it. Now, he did kill 2 people and try to kill a 3rd. He'll get out in about 5 years. I don't know about that, Jenny. I don't think he'll get out that soon. In 50 years, he'll be 76. I think he will see the light of day again. I do. Now you have to think about it, too. What is the actual... oh my God. Remind me not to do a live when I'm so tired. Should have done an upload. I can pause. What's the difference between prison and a mental institution? I'll tell you the difference. My honest verdict was that the jury found based on the evidence testimony I saw during trial. That's why crime level is so bad, because they always let the criminals go. He gets to go to prison after the reevaluation. No, he won't go to prison. Prison is not for rehabilitation. It's not for the mentally insane. It's supposed to be for rehabilitation, but according to what the impression that I got, and I might be wrong, but according to the impression I got, is that he, no matter how many medicines he's on, no matter what drugs he's on, he's still that mentally insane, and that they believe that he would kill again, and that he's just not stable. Now, he's been on drugs in jail, and that's the other thing. That's the other thing that I find fucked up. Because when you're in jail, everybody gets drugs in jail. Everybody gets drugs in a mental institution. This is my main reason why I think he faked it. So you have this guy who is acting all insane. But he's been on drugs. If you're really insane and you're really mentally unfit, those drugs that they give you in jail, or has he been in jail or has he been in a mental institution? I think he's been in jail. So he's getting all the drugs that he's supposed to be getting. So if he's getting all the drugs, how is he acting so insane? Ow. How is he acting so insane if he's getting stabilizers? He's getting, I mean, even schizophrenia. When they take their medicine, they're fine. Did they not give him medicine because he was coming to trial? That's the part of why I think he faked it. He did. He got reevaluated like 4 times. I understand that, but when you're in jail, they watch you. Like, they seriously watch you. But you would, Ruth, and I agree with you, the meds don't always work. There was testimony he wasn't properly medicated in jail. And that's possible. It's definitely possible. Maybe he needs more, let's say, lithium that they can't give you in jail. So that is possible. But they had to give him some kind of stabilizers. They had to give, I mean, he did live 26 years on the street. He did live, you know, like a normal person on the street outside of prison walls. No, they said he wasn't. He wouldn't take his meds because he wanted to act insane. But they do kind of force it down your throat. I don't see how it's going to be any different. But he knew what he was. That's what I say, Kathy. I absolutely believe that too. I think that he pulled this insanity defense because you would take those pills and you would stabilize. You would be normal. You wouldn't, even if they weren't the right dosage, you would still not be erratic. You wouldn't be all over the place. No, you say no meds, it's no meds. No, he wouldn't have a choice. You don't have a choice in prison. You have to take what a doctor prescribes you. There's no choice. Trust me, I saw it firsthand. And that's where I'm torn too, Denise, because I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. His mental illness will go back to childhood. Yes, but he still lived 26 years without killing anyone. He still lived 26 years without getting in major trouble. He still was able to... Pugs, it doesn't matter what state you are. If a doctor prescribes you medicine, you must take it. They wake you up at 6 o'clock in the fucking morning or 5:30 to take it. Period. They're not going to have dangerous people in jail not on meds. It's not going to happen. No, the meds don't always work, but in jail, if he's violent in prison, if he's doing things in prison that he shouldn't be doing, then yes, they would force him to take drugs. They do it in rehab, they do it in jail, they do it in prison, they do it in county, they do it everywhere. You have to take the drugs, and they watch you take them. Now, are there ways to get around it where, you know, you stick it under your tongue or you hide it? Yeah, people do it every day. But if you're conscious enough, and here's my other catch, if you're conscious enough to be able to hide the drugs, you're conscious enough to be able to, you know, make sure that the doctor doesn't see your drugs. I heard that too, Val. They had to put it in liquid form. But what I'm saying is that, and Val, going on that, because I was leading to that. If you're able to hide it and shit, they're going to turn it into liquid form because they're going to force you to take it. Because they're not going to have some dangerous, you know, manic criminal behind bars who has to share a cell with somebody because it just doesn't work. So they put him on liquid. So he may not have gotten the medicine that he wants. But my point is that If he's logical enough to know not to take his meds, if he's logical enough to know to hide the meds, that they had to put it in liquid form, then guess what? He's stable enough to know right from wrong. He's not crazy enough that he did not know what the fuck he was doing when he killed those 2 women. Plain and simple. That's my point. You can't have it both ways. You just can't. Doc said he has psychotic. Yeah, the doctor said he was scared of him. I mean, I saw that. The doc said he was like all over the place. Schizophrenia usually doesn't present itself fully until early 30s. I don't know if I agree with that. I haven't heard that, Val. I'm not saying I'm right because I don't know. I might be wrong, but I don't believe that. Absolutely believe he snapped and killed them. He knew what he did and came up with this elaborate story. I'm right there with you, Peekaboo. He's not well, but highly intelligent. Yes, he thinks he got away with it easy. Yeah, because he got exactly what he wanted. This is what he wanted. He wanted not guilty by reasonable insanity. He didn't want to go to jail. He wanted to go to a mental institution. That's what he wanted. And I think he faked it. I do. I don't think that I think he should be going to the death chamber. But I don't think Wisconsin has a death penalty. No death. There is no death penalty. I know the doctor didn't sound entirely professional. The doctor said he didn't even look at all the evidence. The whole interview was suspicious to me. I guess he could count himself lucky because sometimes they put mentally people on death row. He should be on death row, but they don't have it. And that's another thing that I think about. Would he have gone to the death chamber if Wisconsin had the death penalty? See, that's the thing, Kathy. Can he get out now? According to Wisconsin law, he can. Are you not doing a face cam? No, not right now. If you want to see what I look like, go to most of my videos. I'm just not doing one tonight. If you go to Wisconsin's legislative, it does say that they can get out. The odds of him getting out are very slim to none. The odds that Wisconsin ever lets anybody out are slim. But yes, theoretically, he can get out. Unlike where he's going to jail. So in his insane mind, he's probably thinking, I'll be out on the streets in 6 months. I'll be fine. Like, where jail, he wouldn't have a chance to get out. But I'm sure he's going to be plotting and planning his escape this first day he even goes in there. I really do. I think that. I think they should protect the family. If he does get out, if I was a family, I'd be so depressed. He wanted Slim. And that other ex-girlfriend he was mad at. Did that once. The guy walked in front of a train like 2 years ago. Hold on. Yeah, and that's the other thing the defense was trying to say. The defense was trying to say that it's possible that there were other people that could have done it. Because remember, he said at one point that he didn't do it. Even though he was at the scene of the crime when it happened and he admitted he did it, all of a sudden they said that, you know, he didn't do it. So the prosecution ended up like dismissing any suggestion that others could have been responsible or that people had kidnapped him and shoved him through the window of the residence. I mean, it was like the most elaborate stories. So the district attorney was like, yeah, it's not going to happen. Nobody kidnapped you. Nobody threw you through the window. Nobody made you, you know, kill anybody. He had to take the amount of years on each count consecutively, 84 and a half. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The judge said it was 84 and a half years, and then the prosecution said no, they wanted life. And the judge ended up saying life. The judge was like, all right, fine, life. There was something that I pulled up that I cannot find where I pulled it from. Oh, you know what? Hold on. Here it is. Nope, that's not it either. All right. So the jury stated that he lacked the ability to understand the wrongfulness of his actions. He'll be committed to the Department of Health Services up to life. Up to life. Not life, up to life. Which means that he really can get out. Because it's not a prison, though, I don't think that they can say definitively that he's going for life. I think that can only be done in a prison sentence. Pugs, I'm not going through this again. I'm not. He was found guilty yesterday. That was, but in the 2-part trial, that gets changed. Under Wisconsin law, if a defendant is found is not responsible for criminal conduct as a result of mental disease or defect, he lacked substantial capacity either to appreciate the wrongfulness of his conduct or conduct to the requirements of the law. So-called insanity defense, because Cayer planned the crime, cleaned himself up between the killings, apologized, asked about one of the victims, and otherwise showed signs that he knew he had done wrong. That he knew he did wrong. Yet, for people wondering about Wisconsin, the Wisconsin insanity test, due to its use of the phrase substantial rather than total, is more flexible than other legal tests for insanity, which would have resulted in an easier conviction for the state. I think the jury was wrong too. So he had a motive. Sabrina told her mom that Cayer sexually assaulted her. His personal life was falling apart. The killing was not some random act. Defendant had no problem conforming his conduct to the requirements of the law. Now, according to the state, Cayer displayed planning. He brought his backpack with the things he wanted, didn't stay at home to argue with his dad, washed his feet of blood, during the acts, stole a phone, chased Kennedy, and ran off when he heard Kennedy call 911. He gave up after law enforcement found him. Now, Cayer continues to maintain his outright innocence, declined to testify at first. And he said he didn't want to be present Thursday morning, which we saw, and he wasn't. And he basically just said, I don't like you people, and I'm not going to give you everything in the news later, so fuck y'all. That was his attitude. I really can't really blame him too much. But even the news reports are saying that he was committed to life. He wasn't. He was committed up to life. Second court today, kind of play. Yeah, that's what they were saying. It's up to a doctor. Yep, I said that earlier. It is up to the doctor. But I don't know. One thing I don't know about the law, Peekaboo, I know that he can apply every 6 months, but I don't know if the doctor, like, if he has to serve a certain amount of time, like 84 years for both killings, then he can apply. Or if it's automatic. Someone here was saying it was automatic. I'm not sure about. I should have my friends in jail call Laura on the calls. Life for parole up to life is a minimum of 40 years. All right. Pugs, please stop putting false information out there because you're wrong. I'm looking at Wisconsin law. All right, so, I'm trying to, I had before, I could tell you from Making a Murder, Wisconsin law is fucked up. They have the worst laws ever. They really do. No. All right. I was looking for what I found before. All right. I don't know what happened to stuff. I had everything so fucking organized, and then it was like gone. Just gone. Okay. For those of you that want to argue with me, after nearly 3 hours of deliberation Thursday evening, jurors unanimously agreed that Cayer had a mental illness when he committed the crimes, but decided 10-2 that he was not guilty of those crimes by reason of mental disease or defect. The reason why they're saying guilty but not responsible is because they're putting that in layman's terms. That, okay, in other words, he's guilty but not responsible. But there's no law for guilty or not responsible. It's not guilty by reason of insanity. NGI, exactly right. It's actually NGRI to get technical. But yeah, that's why the news are saying very lightly it's, guilty due to mental illness, but that's not the defense. There's no legal term guilty for but not responsible. They didn't want to confuse the public by saying that, they didn't want to confuse hey, American Dream, they didn't want to confuse the public by saying not guilty like he was going to get out. So they made it layman's terms, guilty but not responsible. I hope that makes more sense. All right. So going back to the actual trial. So you guys tell me what you think. Yes, I know there's no legal term. I'm going by legal term. It's not guilty by reason of insanity, like I said from the beginning. On July 7th, he bicycled over to the woman's home after arguing with his dad. Now, this is somebody that's supposed to be insane, all right? This guy's supposed to be insane. He brought a backpack full of zip ties, duct tape, rope, gloves, knives. He broke into a window. He lashed Sonny to a bathtub and killed her, then ambushed and attacked Sabrina and Kennedy when they arrived home. After the attack, authorities used a police dog to find him, who was hiding in a wooded area behind the house. Does that sound like somebody that's fucking insane to you? Or does that sound like premeditated? I don't know about you guys, but to me, that's fucking as premeditated can get. That's pure premeditated. Plain and simple. Now, the psychiatrist said that he profoundly was mentally ill. When you plan a murder like that, that's not mentally ill. I mean, it's sick that you can murder someone like that. Someone in trial chat said he was good looking. Yeah, okay. But that's pure premeditation. Hey, Vicky, that is premeditated murder. Any way you slice it, that's premeditated murder. And I don't get how this is insanity. He knew exactly what he was doing before he did it. So, the district attorney thought that not guilty by mental illness or defect at the time of the crime. Said he was so impaired that he could not conform conduct in requirement of law and could not distinguish right from wrong. So that's coming from the district attorney. He appeared psychotic during evaluation and had several delusions about the attacks, including that he was kidnapped and made to look responsible for the incident. Robbins was the only person to testify in a second phase of the trial after Cayer said that there would be no point in speaking to the court again after his testimony Wednesday. Think about that for a second, though. You cannot tell me that this guy is not going to act insane. he knows what he's doing. He's not stupid. And I'm not saying that people aren't crazy, but what was his reasoning for killing the people? He never really did give a reason, did he? Because he said that he didn't do it. But he just drove over to her house, killed her mom, waited for her boyfriend to get home? Come on. That's not normal. But it's not psychotic either. He had it planned out. He was mad over what, though? But he had it planned out. And I did make a mistake. I said that the trial had been postponed 4 times. No, it was postponed 6 times over 4 years. And most of the delays were because his incompetency to stand trial, and most recently because of COVID. Well, by that I mean that if he was angry, he would have killed his dad, but he decided to kill Sabrina and her mom. The only reason I see was because Sabrina told his mom that he raped her. And I get that. I don't know. I think it was too planned out. He's going to the state hospital. Going to the state hospital. Ow. He was going to kill the other ex-girlfriend, but she was unavailable somehow. Yeah, it was definitely planned. There's no doubt about it. And, I mean, they couldn't even bring him to court today. Now, that he has a choice on. Not the drugs, but he does have a choice. If he doesn't want to come to court, he doesn't have to. However, think about it like this. This is where I get confused. And this is where I don't really understand. If he's so incompetent and you're giving him not guilty by reason of insanity, means that he doesn't know right from wrong. So why wasn't he forced to come to court? If you think he's so insane, then why are you allowing him to have freedom of choice? Like, why is he allowed to make choices? It doesn't make sense to me. He shouldn't be allowed to make choices then. You know what I mean? But he was able to choose if he came to prison or not. For the sentencing. Well, why are you allowing him to come to prison? Huh. See, like, all right. Think about it like, do you believe Andrea Yates was insane? No. I believe maybe she had a temporary case of insanity, but no, I don't think she was insane. Is this the girl? Yeah, this is her. All right. Yeah, the doctor said that in his opinion, Cayer is in fact not guilty by mental illness or defect at the time of the crime. He was so impaired that he could not conform conduct. I actually read that already. And that's it. That's pretty much it. All right. Judge specifically states she told him about the jury's findings and that he is not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect. Do you think a person can be evil and insane at the same time? Absolutely. Just like anything else, there's different levels of insanity. I had other stuff. I can't find it. I'm too tired. All right. Who was that law student who killed a classmate of his and cut her up? It was a guy that happened. Oh, I don't remember. How long did they deliberate? Not long at all. The whole trial from beginning to end was 4 days. They even went through phase 2 immediately. They came back with a trial with an answer within like 3 hours. Even on phase 2 was like 3 hours. Now, the state asks that he goes for the rest of his life. Doesn't mean that he will, unfortunately. Because if instinct is right, and you have to think of it like this, if instinct is right, not saying it is, but if instinct is right, what is going to happen is it's very, very possible. You can go to Law and Crime Network. Insanity, mental illness, such severe nature that a person cannot distinguish fantasy and reality, cannot conduct affairs due to psychosis. See, but Val, and I agree, I get that, but I don't agree with that. He planned this out. This was premeditated. You can't have premeditated murder and be insane. I mean, I guess you can, but I don't know. He knew right from wrong. And like someone else said, if he didn't know right from wrong, then he would have killed his dad. Why didn't he kill his dad that he was fighting with? How come he only killed the ex? Because, she said he was going to be raped. He was so fucking afraid of prison. That's his big problem. He was so afraid of jail that no matter what, he did not want to go back to jail. I don't believe it'll be released due to multiple victims. I don't know. I want to say you're right. Now, mind you, he was not on drugs. He was not drinking. He was only giving ketamine that was administered at the hospital by the staff. That's it. I don't believe it. I don't know. But he got away with, not that he got away with it, but he got exactly what he wanted. So, these two people are dead, and he's not going to prison for the rest of his life. And that's kind of scary. So the judge did commit him to Department of Health Services for a life term. Conditional release would pose harm to others, so will order Cayer to be placed in institutional care. He can be committed for the rest of his life. That's it. But for anybody that didn't see it, it was a pretty interesting trial. Now, before I shut down, I got a question for you guys. It's going to seem like a bit of an odd question. Would you ever keep a dead body in your basement? No. So now you guys are wondering why I asked that. Hold on, I'll tell you in a minute. Oh, sure. Now I find what I was looking for earlier. So also in Wisconsin, do you need an alibi? So there was an 18-year-old girl named Erin that was found dead in, Philadelphia. She's been missing for months and they had no idea like what happened to her. They finally found her in a plastic tub inside a Philadelphia basement. Madison lady who was already facing an abusive corpse case in the matter is now being prosecuted for murder and drug delivery resulting in death, according to records viewed. She was first arrested on January 17th, the day after the victim's body was allegedly found in the basement of her home. Police had been there to arrest the defendant on a probation violation, according to the news. She'd gone missing September of 2019. Last seen 2 miles from Leedy's home. The victim was the mother of a toddler. Why would you keep a dead body in the basement? I can't think of anything fucking freakier. Like, that had to stink. Like, that seriously had to smell. You know what I mean? Imagine that. Hey, what's that smell coming from downstairs? Oh, that's just a girl that I killed. People are fucking crazy. That's what I'm saying. It would smell. But it was down there for 4 months. 4 months. That's insane. Some people are very sick. But that's what happens. People don't want to get busted. They don't want to get caught being, like killing someone or an overdose or anything. Yeah, 4 months. She was in a plastic tub in the basement. It sounds to me like the girl OD'd, but that'll probably be a pretty good trial too. Yeah, 4 months. Aaron Schweikert. Crazy. People crazy. So that is what I have for you guys tonight. That was the trial. It definitely was an interesting trial. 2 years today. What's 2 years today? I would smell so bad. I was like, that would be horrible. I couldn't even imagine it. Norman Bates would also, yeah, John Wayne Gacy. Oh, by the way, did I tell you guys about the song? Does anyone know who the opening song was about? Did I say it? I don't remember if I said it. Jamila got killed, a stay-at-home wife, and kept her in a drum right in the garage for 8 years. No one reported her missing. They found her after he died. No, I don't remember that. I never said who was the beginning song, right? That song was written about John Wayne Gacy. If you listen to the words, you can hear it. Crazy, crazy. Sorry, I'm going to shut down. I'm like really off tonight. I'm very tired. I mowed the lawn. Me and Dayton went swimming for an hour. I cleaned the kitchen. It's just an off day. And I went back to work today, which made it even tougher. Finally back to work. I need a shower. I gotta go take a shower. So, alright. I will see you guys mañana. Hopefully it'll be enough. Yeah, something is going on. I'm just tired. I really am just tired. I mean, I only had like an hour and a half sleep last night. Was this members only? No. I only had like an hour and a half sleep. I got off Dave's panel. It was probably like, I don't know, 4:30, and then I had to be up by 6 after not working for like 9 days. So yeah, I was out of it. But I didn't want to wait till tomorrow to do the trial, because it just ended. But I knew I was off tonight. I'm just out of it. So, all right. I will see you guys later. Have a wonderful... I know, I'm tired. I need to go to bed. I may even take a shower in the morning. I don't know. I'm just out. I will see you guys tomorrow. Dave was at it again today. Oh, was he? I'm not grumpy. Hi, Printment. I'm not grumpy. Just, I'm just tired. Good night, Susie. Susie, when you guys coming over and going swimming? Alright. I will see you guys later. Peace.